ladies and gentlemen, Iron Voice Warriors. I hope you're ready to strap in because this one's gonna rattle the fucking snow off the Rockies. And everyone's been so fixated on the southern border, on the desert crossings, on the mules dragging product across Texas scrubland. But they forgot that there's another border. Oh yeah, a cold one and a quieter one. And the cartels didn't forget, people. They've already exploited it. And Canada, yeah, the so-called peaceful neighbor, you know, the polite gateway. Well, let me tell you something. It's turned into their northern hub, people. And the infiltration is deep. And this isn't theory, people. This is all documented, traced, proven. And as always, in good old Panzer fashion, I'm about to rip the fucking lid off this polite facade. And let me tell you something. You've been lied to about what border security really is and what it means. And while Washington distracts you with all the sound bites about Texas and Arizona, the real poison pipeline has been opening up above your fucking heads. And this is the one border they don't ever talk about. Because to acknowledge it would expose the whole fucking game. And the failures of intelligence, yeah, the sellouts in law enforcement and the fucking corporate greed that keeps the wheels greased, people. And this isn't just drugs crossing the line. It's money laundering on a travel that makes Wall Street blush, people. And it's sad, you know, it's human smuggling going on, it's weapons moving back and forth, money transactions, black market two-way streets going on up there. And all of it, yeah, it's all shielded by Canada's polite reputation. What are you talking about, buddy? Well, they've taken that maple leaf image and turned it into camouflage for the biggest northern infiltration in modern fucking history. Oh yeah, the Mexican cartels, those fucking Sinaloa, CJNG fuckers, and their little offshoot dweebs didn't just stumble into this by accident. No. They've been fucking planning this. They studied it, they invested in it. Oh, yes. For years, people. Yeah, meanwhile, the puppet show's going south of the border. You guys are all fucking paying attention down there. Meanwhile, the fucking fox is in the henhouse right here in Canada's border. Oh, yeah. They pumped money into Canada real estate, knowing it would give them physical footholds over financial covers as well. And we're talking high-rise condos in Vancouver, brought through fucking numbered shell companies. They have been bought by farm properties in Saskatchewan with empty barns that never see a crop, or warehouses in Alberta that never load a legitimate shipment. Yeah, people. Looky-loo. Yeah, all of it's been serving as a staging grounds for their operations. And the beauty, oh yeah, for them, is most of those Canadians up there don't see it coming. They don't, because their media and their politicians are too fucking busy pretending it's an American problem. Ports like Vancouver, Prince Rupert, Montreal, and Halifax, these are the fucking new battlegrounds, people, but they don't look like battlefields. They look like a commerce, trade, shipping schedules. You know, you walk the docks at night and you see the cranes unloading containers, stacking them like Lego bricks. But you'd never guess which ones carry the poison. Yeah, inside some of those still boxes, fentanyl straight from fucking China, cocaine from Colombia routed through Mexico, meth ready for distribution. And sometimes they bury the fucking contraband deep in a container full of legitimate goods. Produces, appliances, even fucking children's toys. These people are ingenious when it comes to getting their product in here. Like I said, the paperwork's all clean. You know, they manifest these thin lines. And the inspections, yeah, they're too fucking few of them to even catch more than a fraction. Because they know the odds. They're like, well, fuck, if one shipment's going to get popped, well, they're not going to catch these other 3 right behind it. You know? Like I said, let's talk about Project E Nexus back in 2019. Yeah, the bust in good old British Columbia. 1.5 tons of fucking meth. Seized. And the trail, yeah, it led straight back to the Sinaloa cartel. And the evidence shows that the product was handled in the U.S., in Montana. And that's not a theory, people. That's a fucking documented fact. You know, the bust didn't happen because of just random luck. It happened because a few good officers, actual loyal officers, followed the money and the communication trail. But how many fucking shipments actually made it through before that, you know? And how many went right past the underfunded checkpoints in the north? Fucking probably all of them, huh? But, you know, and then you got the Operation Madrid. Back in, 2021, you know, the joint U.S.-Canadian operation. Or I think it's called MyRID. But they hit it back in Vancouver in that network linked to the CJNG cartel. And these guys were importing fentanyl precursors from fucking China straight into the Canadian ports, running them through clandestine labs in industrial parks and pumping finished product into Washington and into Idaho. And they all came in on commercial trucks, people. These drivers with legitimate credentials, just like I've been talking about, FedEx, UPS, they're all in on this. They all get paid. And like I said, they're hauling, you know, machinery parts or whatever. And like I said, they're crossing at the border points with this stuff right underneath legitimate packages. And like I said, the times, they're kind of short. And the inspections are lighter than the southern crossings. But they know exactly which choke points to avoid and which ones to exploit. Like I said, people, they've been digging in for years. And you think right here on the Canadian or the southern border, like I said, they have went up and beyond, people, to get their product in here. And they know their fucking asses is on fire at the southern border, so what's the next best move? Well, you got the polite people up north that don't give 2 shits and a fuck, that always claim that this is an American problem. So why not exploit that, right? I mean, genius. And let's not forget, like I said, the Cullen Commission findings. Oh, yeah. You remember that? Go ahead and research the Cullen Commission findings. Billions laundered through Vancouver casinos, high-end homes, and corporate shells. And this just isn't cartel money, people. This is integrated financial crime, where the Mexicans, the Chinese, and the local Canadian players work together to scrub all the cash until it looks cleaner than anything in your fucking checking account. And they're good at it too, people. That's how they start these little companies. And like I said, we've been busting them open here at Panzer Unleashed. Like I said, I use myself as bait. They come around every now and then. And it's all about documentation. And like I said, follow the breadcrumbs, people. And like I said, these people, they invest all this money into these shell companies so they can launder their cash. And you want to know how fucking bold these motherfuckers have gotten? They're not hiding in the shadows anymore, people. They're wearing uniforms, police badges. They're everywhere. I mean, you got the Hells Angels chapter in Canada that's openly working and protecting them. See, here in California, or not California, but in the United States, I didn't think that those guys worked with those guys, considering their backstory. But yeah, like I said, it just goes to show that everybody's out to line their pockets at all cost. No matter if it's destroying your communities, poisoning your kids. Like I said, these people do not give a shit. Like I said, it's a full spectrum alliance. And these cartels, they don't have to fly their flag because these local partners blend perfectly into the Canadian landscape. No one sees them as the cartel, you know what I'm saying? They see them as locals, which is exactly the point. because they've already infiltrated America. They're every fucking where. And it's a sad situation that people go on living their daily lives and just pretending everything's okay. You know, you have to picture it, people. Like I said, they're here. Open your fucking eyes. And I'm going to say this one more time. All the Iron Voice Society and citizen soldiers out there, this is your moment. And this is why we exist. Your cameras, your eyes, your ears, they are the tripwires. Because nobody in Ottawa or DC, they're not coming to save you. Like I said, when you see the suspicious trucks, the warehouses with no business, but constant night activity, the same license plate showing up at the docks every week, you gotta document it. You know, keep your fucking records, get your faces, your vehicles, your times, and you share that intel with the people that you can trust. Like I said, build a network. Like I said, on Gab, there's a lot of great people out there on Gab. Old school veterans that have been manipulated, have seen the dark side. And like I said, they're all in this now. Like I said, we all have children, and it's about the future of our kids. You know, and like I said, if you grew up like I have, you definitely don't want them to ever see the things that you have. And this is why we do this. And if you're waiting for permission to act, people, then you already fucking lost. You have to understand that fentanyl is fucking hitting America right in the fucking face on the streets. Right now, it didn't just slip through a fucking fence in El Paso. You know, a big chunk of it came through Vancouver, Montreal, Halifax. It came down through the back roads of Montana. The hidden crossings in Minnesota, the long, quiet stretches where a single truck, they can just pass without a single question. And it disappears into the bloodstream of the country, both literally and economically. Overdoses climb, communities rot, all while these cartels laugh their fucking asses off because they've beaten the border security. Yeah, the narrative, they've beat that shit. Just by working around it. Common sense. And you want numbers, people? Try this. Alone, Canadian authorities seized over 1,300 kilograms of fentanyl. And every enforcement veteran will tell you, that's just a fucking fraction of what made it through. Because at 2 milligrams per lethal dose, that's enough to kill hundreds of millions. Now imagine what got past them. You know, like I said, and here's the ugly fucking truth nobody in politics even wants to say out loud. Canada's political class is just as compromised as ours, people. They've got their own lobbyists, their own corporate backers, their own don't rock the boat mentality. And that lets this continue. And if the shipping companies make money, if the real estate market stays hot, and if those casinos are staying busy, nobody in power is asking the hard questions about where the cash is coming from. You know, because I have people out there that's walked the docks in Vancouver at night, and they've said they've seen the men moving around like ghosts between those containers, you know, the unmarked vans idling just long enough to swap some cargo out, the security guards who suddenly find somewhere else to be. You know, like I said, they say they see it in the air, man, and that's a good thing, because then you're onto it. And that's exactly what they don't want. Because most people, they don't notice until the poison shows up in their own fucking family. And then it's a real kick in the fucking balls. And, you know, this is the fight, warriors. Not the one of the fucking news. You know, the one that's happening in the fog, in the warehouses, in the real estate offices, in those quiet rural roads that connect our countries. And like I said, if you're up there on the border, like I said, and you're listening to this, you're not just an observer. You're a part of the line. Document, disrupt, engage. Because the Northern Front isn't coming. It's already here. So you need to wake up, warriors. The enemy's not just at the gate. They bought the fucking house next door. They're sipping coffee in the morning while moving their fucking products at night. And the Northern Front is real. And if you ignore it, you're gonna fucking wake up one day to find the fight's already lost. And the Iron Voices don't sleep. Panzer Unleashed doesn't back the fuck down. You have to keep your eyes open, your weapons ready, and your network strong. As always, this is Scott Panzer Paulson reporting live from Hack Studios. To all the patriots out there, we appreciate you, we see you. All the Iron Voice Society members and the citizen soldiers, you are everything. And make sure to lock in across every platform that we're on. We got on Spotify, YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, Goyim TV, Rumble. You can also follow me as well on Gab at Scott Ryan Paulson, or you can follow me on Twitter/X at Scott Panzer Paulson. And if you got documented information that you want sealed up nice and tight, and like I said, you can email it to me at gmail.com or panzerfront14 at gmail.com. And once again, citizen soldiers, live from Hack Studios, we are out.